The year was 2003. The world watched as the United States, still reeling from the devastating attacks of 9/11, stood poised to invade Iraq. The Bush administration, citing the threat of weapons of mass destruction and Saddam Hussein's alleged ties to terrorism, argued that military action was necessary to protect the American people. This rationale, embraced by proponents of the security school of thought, posited that the invasion was a direct response to legitimate security concerns. The attacks of 9/11 had fundamentally reshaped the United States' perception of vulnerability. The nation, once seemingly impervious to such large-scale assaults, had been deeply wounded. The fear and uncertainty that followed created a fertile ground for the Bush administration's arguments. The specter of Saddam Hussein, a brutal dictator with a history of using chemical weapons, acquiring WMDs, presented a chilling possibility in this post-9/11 world. The security school argues that the Bush administration, genuinely believing in the threat posed by Iraq, acted decisively to neutralize it. The administration pointed to intelligence reports suggesting that Saddam Hussein was actively pursuing WMD programs and harboring terrorists. The possibility, however remote, of these weapons falling into the wrong hands of another attack on American soil was a risk the administration was unwilling to take. The security school's perspective hinges on the belief that the Bush administration, while perhaps operating on flawed intelligence, acted in good faith to protect the nation from a perceived existential threat. It was a time of high anxiety, where the line between preemptive action and reckless aggression blurred. The decision to invade Iraq, while ultimately proving deeply flawed, was, in the eyes of the security school, a tragic miscalculation driven by the desire to safeguard the nation in a time of unprecedented uncertainty. While the security school focuses on the perceived threats that drove the US to invade Iraq, the hegemony school offers a different lens through which to view the conflict. This perspective argues that the invasion was not solely or even primarily about WMDs or terrorism. Instead, it posits that the war was driven by a deeper, more calculated desire, the preservation and expansion of American global dominance. The hegemony school is not a monolithic entity. Within it, two main subcamps offer distinct yet interconnected interpretations of the US's motivations. The realist hegemony camp views the invasion through the lens of power politics. They argue that the Bush administration, seeking to maintain US unipolarity in a post-Cold War world, saw Saddam Hussein's Iraq as a challenge to its authority and a potential obstacle to its freedom of action in the oil-rich Middle East. The liberal hegemony camp, while sharing the realist's focus on US dominance, emphasizes a different aspect: the promotion of liberal democracy and free markets as tools for maintaining global hegemony. From this perspective, the invasion of Iraq was not just about removing a dictator or securing strategic interests. It was about remaking the Middle East in the image of the West, creating a domino effect of democratization that would ultimately benefit US influence and interests. Both hegemony school camps converge on a crucial point. The invasion of Iraq was about much more than the stated reasons of WMDs and terrorism. It was about projecting US power, shaping the global order, and ensuring American primacy in a rapidly changing world. The specter of 9/11, while undoubtedly a factor in shaping public opinion and creating a climate of fear, was, in the eyes of the hegemony school, ultimately a convenient pretext for a war driven by larger geopolitical ambitions. The lead-up to the Iraq War was marked by significant manipulation of intelligence. Reports about weapons of mass destruction, or WMDs, were used to justify the invasion. However, many of these reports were later found to be inaccurate or exaggerated. This manipulation of intelligence played a crucial role in swaying public opinion and gaining support for the war effort. The consequences of the Iraq War have been profound and far-reaching. The conflict led to significant loss of life, both military and civilian. It destabilized the region, leading to a power vacuum that contributed to the rise of extremist groups. The long shadow of the Iraq War continues to affect global politics, shaping the foreign policy decisions of nations around the world. The lessons learned from this conflict remain a topic of intense debate and reflection.